What's going on, OpeCast? It's Braden, and today I have a special guest. I have Jaye, who's an entrepreneur. She's a creator. She's someone that may love St. Louis a little bit more than me. I said a little bit.
Just a tiny bit.
And so, want to welcome you on OpeCast.
Thank you, Braden.
How does it feel to officially be inside the studio? Because last time we talked, we were both outside the studio. I inside of it.
I love the studio. I love the layout. It's really comfortable. So far, I'm enjoying being here. Thank you for having me.
Did you still work out at Artista?
No, I worked out of a different co-working space, but I gotta be honest, of all the co-working spaces I've been to and visited and gone to events at, Tech Artista's vibe is more for like creatives and just people with big imaginations. Other places lend themselves more to like straight-laced business folk. You know, I'm an accountant, I'm a lawyer, but this place really gives the vibe of like, oh, you want to make something out of bottle caps? Go for it. How can we support you in that? And I dig that.
Facts. This is not a sponsor. It's just that's where we are, but that's literally, I mean, the energy here. I mean, we have a lot of successful businesses out of here, so we can have fun. We can do creative stuff. Right, it doesn't just have to be business and straightforward.
Yeah, you can take a break. You can let your hair down.
Right. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, all of that hair, all the itches that you have.
Let's dive into your story. You share a lot of love for St. Louis.
Yes.
And even though it seems normal to you and I when we talk, there's a lot of people that don't have that. You know, they only see the bad things about the city, but people like us are lifting it up. So let's dive into your upbringing, and what fuels that.
So my name is Jaye. It's actually not an acronym, but a nickname, because my name is Jennifer. And it's just such a boring name. So when I was in high school, there were so many Jennifers in my class, and the teacher was like, well, what do you want to be called? Do you want to be called Jen or Jenny? And said, you know what, just call me Jaye. And I've been Jaye ever since. I grew up in East St. Louis with my parents and my 3 siblings. And I come from a huge family, and I'm not saying that to be dramatic. My dad is one of 18 kids. So I have 50 first cousins just on my dad's side. That's before we get into like first cousins once removed, second cousins and things like that. So we grew up often spending time with our family, going to family events like birthday parties and things like that. But my parents are from Mississippi. So another part of my upbringing was traveling. We went on road trips would seem like once a month. We were either in Mississippi or Chicago, but it was throw the kids in the car, get some snacks and some coolers. We're hitting the road to go visit our family. So that always stuck with me, even, you know, when I grew up and went to high school, went to college and graduated college and moved back home. I wanted to still keep that a part of my identity, was going out and spending time as a family and just exploring what, you know, wherever you're going has to offer. And because I have a lot of family here in the Metro East area, a lot of my family comes in town. And every time they come in town, they're like, what do we do? Where do we go? Where's the bar? Where's the food? Where are the LGBTQ spots? What is ADA? Because I have family in wheelchairs, I have family in walkers. So they count on me to be the person to tell them where to go and what to do. And because I know my family very well, it's often based around the budget. So I find a lot of free things for families. I find a lot of Groupons and coupons and buy one and get ones. And the great thing about St. Louis is we have a lot of free events.
Facts.
There is a lot of free festivals, and just like, oh, I'm just going to set up a picnic basket on, you know, this corner. Next thing you know, somebody's playing music, and it's a party now. And it's just like, oh, okay, look what we got to experience just because we got outside and decided to see what the city had to offer. So even though I did that for my family, I really wanted to create that space in the social media world, because that's where people are getting their information. That's where they're getting entertainment. And it's great to see a picture of a park, but I want to tell you how to get to that park, where to park your car, or how to take public transportation. I tell everyone, don't park at the airport, take the Metrolink. You know, things like that that will help people just like experience St. Louis better. So I want to be a resource for people who want to do things in St. Louis more than anything.
Because you were naturally that resource for your family.
Yes.
And
yeah.
It's like sometimes like we were talking to your family, or maybe they go on vacation and they're willing to spend, you know, hey, $25 on food, $25 on an experience, and you're like, hey, let's spend $25 here in St. Louis on this nice meal, but then, hey, here's like 3 free things we're going to also do.
Yes.
That's part of the day. So then you can also get some snacks,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so, like with your family, like what have been, or excuse me, kind of backtrack. You're showing your family, you know, hey, this is where we're going. We're giving away some of the secrets.
Right.
You know? And so you created your platform. What was that final push to get started?
I don't know. I think I wanted to create what I wasn't seeing. And there's a lot of great imagery out there. There's a lot of, you know, beautiful people taking pictures. And it's like, that's amazing. But there's more people that look like me and have families like mine who are on budgets and, you know, have a van and don't get to travel often. So they want to make the most of their travel experience. And I wanted to show that side of like travel and tourism. Like I said, you know, we can't all Uber places. We can't all, you know, valet park. We have to do the street parking for free. So I'm the person who's going to tell you where the free street parking is. Like, yeah, you're going to have to walk 2 blocks, but it's worth it because you don't have to pay to park.
Oh, yeah, I do that on Cherokee Street.
Exactly.
I'm not paying to park on Cherokee Street. I'm
Right.
paying like for many growing up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's like, oh, you got to pay right. I'm parking. Save-A-Lot parking lot.
Exactly. Yes. And some people, you know, yeah, they're like, well, you know, I want to park someplace where I say, hey, that's fine. I've never had a problem parking 2 blocks over and walking to where I want to go. I had no problem eating street meat. So yes, you want to have, you know, fine dining. That's great. But if you can't afford that, these guys with this hot dog stand make a mean hot dog. Okay. And I've never gotten sick from it. It's $4. They take cash out. Then you can still have a great experience without breaking the bank.
But it's like, I would explore downtown on Sundays. It's free parking.
Absolutely. You know, people are often surprised to hear that when they come to St. Louis because Chicago, you have to pay $10 to breathe in Chicago.
Yep.
So on Sundays, you have to pay to park. You don't have to do that in St. Louis. And I'm from the Metro East. So like where I live, it's actually free 2-hour parking, street parking. So this whole pay to park thing in St. Louis is even foreign to me because I'm like, oh, wait a second. You have to pay, but it's very reasonably priced. It's like $1.75 for an hour or something like that. And like in Chicago, it's $8 for an hour. So it's to explore St. Louis and have a tourism and travel experience. You're going to have a great experience for half as much as you would spend in LA, Chicago, Miami, New York, Houston, Atlanta. So if for nothing else, come to St. Louis to have a great time and save money. You know, when your pockets increase a little more, then you can go to your Houstons and your Atlantas. You should go everywhere. But if you're balling on a budget and you want to take your kids or your wife or your sisters or have a girls trip, come to St. Louis because you're going to have a great experience for half the cost.
Mm-hmm. So what is that thing that's keeping you going?
I think what keeps me supporting St. Louis is because it's been so good to me. And it's hard for me to accept this bad reputation when I live in different St. Louis. It's the same thing for me being from East St. Louis. Like people have a lot of negative things to say about East St. Louis. And it's like, when was the last time you were there? When was the last time you hung around the people? You went to a barbecue joint? You know, whatever, got gas. And oftentimes it's, oh, I haven't been there in years. Well, how can you say that this is the idea you have of a city that you've never visited? So because I take such offense to that, the people are great. The city is great. Yes, it has some crime, but so does every city, you know. And there's ways to avoid that. There's areas to stay out of. There are certain times a night, you know, not to go places. But I haven't had any issues in East St. Louis or St. Louis for as long as I've lived in the St. Louis Metro East areas, which is all my life, minus a few years.
Now, what have been some of the roles that you've had in leadership here in St. Louis, or you know, maybe you're working with a company downtown, freelance? What are some of the roles that you've had?
Well, my love for like hospitality and tourism really goes back to my grandmother, who was a housekeeper. And because, you know, you're from the South, they say Southern hospitality. So I grew up knowing how to entertain people and how to host people. So when I got into, like, what I say, my grown-up job, it only made sense for me to fall into an industry where it matched my upbringing. So my first grown-up job was as an assistant food and beverage manager at the Four Seasons Hotel St. Louis. I was a part of the opening team for the hotel. When there wasn't paint on the walls or carpet on the floor, I was in the Four Seasons training the staff, ordering products, putting together a food and beverage program. And it was an amazing time here in St. Louis. So I did that for about 3 years, and then I just wanted something new. The company was great. I still have great friends who still work there, but I just wanted a change in scenery. So from there, I started working for Carnival Cruise Lines. And I traveled the world. I got to see and experience things I probably never would have experienced being from the Midwest. I went through the Panama Canal. I've been to Colombia. I met friends from countries I never even heard of. So just that experience at that time just changed me as a person, because I got to see how hospitality is different depending on the country of origin, where in Romania, if it's your birthday, you pay for everyone. Whereas, yes.
I'm going out of town on my birthday. No, I'm not doing that.
Whereas here in America, it's like if it's your birthday, people often buy you a shot or like buy you dinner or something like that. But in Romania, it's different. In Germany, instead of handing money to someone in their hand, you put it on the table, and they will hand you money on the table instead of putting it in your hand, because they find putting money in your hand rude. Yeah. Fascinating, right? Yeah. So if I didn't get to work with these people from all these different countries, I wouldn't have known about the customs there. So that was a great time. And then after 4 years of working on cruise ships, I got my master's degree in mass communications, became a teacher at Lindenwood University. So I was an adjunct professor.
That's where my MBA was.
Oh, yeah. Lindenwood is a great school. They have great programs. I loved my students. I miss them calling me Professor Hodges. And eventually I will get back into teaching, but right now I just want to really focus on, like I said, being a resource for people who are coming to St. Louis, or people who are St. Louis residents already, just saying, hey, forget the bad stuff, okay? Let me show you something else. But all of those years of experience and working in hospitality, I kind of glazed over that I was in the military. Before I went to college, I joined the Air National Guard to pay for school. Learned a lot being in the military, learned a lot being in 3 wars. So I was in the Gulf War, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, and learned about, logistics and how to get things from here to there, and working with foreign entities and working with different branches. So it's the collaboration that I learned from being in the military, and the sense of urgency and the sense of teamwork. And my brother was a Marine, and he used to say, like, either people follow rules or they die. And it's like, okay, well, let's just simmer down. But there is something to be said for everyone being on the same page and following the same plan. So I keep that with me whenever I work in a team effort, or I'm collaborating on something. It's like, hey, are we all on the same page? Do we all know the plan? Do we all know our responsibilities in the plan? No matter what it is. If it's a creative endeavor, if it's a business endeavor, we got to be on the same page. Let's see what else.
I have a question about collaboration.
Yeah.
I've had a conversation with someone recently, and it seems like there are kind of like, so when you were in the military, you had to collaborate for this goal, or unfortunate events can happen.
Exactly.
And it's like in St. Louis, there's a lot of talk about collaboration, and we see certain people that are like carrying that out, like, oh wow, that person's collaborating when.
Absolutely.
But then there's another side of it, like this person has to be like that head honcho, and then it's like, yeah, we're collaborating with everyone, but then it's like literally they're taking all the profits from that small mom and pop. It's like, yeah, collaboration. And so what are your thoughts on the, like, first, can you define collaboration at that local level, what it means to you in St. Louis? And then what are your thoughts? Like, this is just open conversation, just like, because I'm curious your perspective.
Absolutely. So my views on collaboration are 2 things. One, a rising tide lifts all boats. I'm a firm believer in that. As a person who worked on a ship,
Oh my gosh.
and have been in low tides and high tides,
Yeah.
I really believe that one person's success can be the success of another person's when you work together. And again, you're on the same page, you follow the plan, we have an understanding of what the goal is. I think where collaboration fails in St. Louis is we start off being on the same page, or we have the same goals in mind. Then someone shifts their goals to something else without communicating that to their collaborator. Then the collaborator feels, the other person in the collaboration feels slighted, misunderstood, like now we're on the same page, so let's just end this collaboration. We're not on the same page, so let's just end this collaboration. So that's why you see a lot of things not working out, because people, the mark is missed after that. You know, you're not working towards the same end goal, which is unfortunate because I've seen that ruin families, relationships, you know, great partnerships. And it could all be so simple. You know, if you want to switch gears, that's fine. Just communicate. I'm a firm believer in communication.
Yeah.
I do not like being in the dark. I don't care if you tell me you are the one who set my building on fire. Just tell me.
Yeah.
Like, I will forgive you. We could talk it through. But you not telling me is where I get really mad, because I'm an Aries. I'm a fire sign. I'm very unforgiving. I'm working on that. Okay. I also believe in, if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. Mm-hmm. So for a lot of people who are getting into this space of like influencer or content creation, they want to get the followers quickly. They want to get the brand deals quickly. They want to work with the businesses. So the only way to get that is to do it by yourself, because you don't have to communicate with someone else. You don't have to see what their feelings are about things. So I get that. But at a certain point, you grow so big that you can't go further alone. You have to bring on teammates. You have to bring on assistants and editors and producers. You got to bring on an accountant and a business manager. You can't do it all yourself once you get past a certain point of growth, you know, and you can't get bigger without those other people. And if you don't know that, you're destined to be confined in this one. You will never grow. You're stunting your growth. You will never have more followers, more brand deals, more respect, a bigger brand, if you refuse to work with people. You're going to burn out. You're going to drive yourself crazy, and you will find yourself abandoning everything you ever wanted to do, because you don't want to let go of control. You don't want to give the reins to someone else. You don't want to trust anyone else. So how can you grow anything without trusting someone to help you? You can't even grow a garden by yourself after it gets to a certain point. My parents have a garden. Once my dad wanted to add a third garden, he needed to ask me for help. Like, hey, help me till the ground, help me get the seeds, help me sow, all of that. So it's important to know when to ask for help. And the help that you ask for should be your peers that you trust, you know. And with the collaboration with the content creator community here, and really anybody, if you're working on any endeavor, startups, you know, event planning, if you want to put on your own festival, you have to vet the people who are coming to you, because not everyone is a good partner. Just because they want to collaborate with you doesn't mean it's a good fit. And to be perfectly honest, that's okay. If I'm not a good fit for Braden, I have to accept that. Braden has his brand. He has an idea where he wants to take his business, and maybe Jaye isn't the person to work with him at that time. It's not a slight. It's just, you know your business better than I do. So if I'm not a good fit, I just have to accept that.
Wow. That was really good. Like, you know, everything you're saying, it's like I fit that mark. Like, I have a business manager now. Yeah, bringing on a producer. Shout out to Mitch. An accountant. Mm-hmm. You know, a team, other editors. It's like I've hit that point, and I think people follow. I've never really cared for the numbers, to be honest with you. I've always cared about the impact, because I do a mix of, you know, from the social realm, and then I, you know, do stuff on TV or the news, whatever. But it's for me, it's always been about impact, and the numbers have come. But it's like, you know, the rising tides. Yeah,
It's all boats.
And it's like that's always been my thing. It's like. You know, how can I help this person, that person? Because we can all grow. Mm-hmm. And it's like, for me, I have like a huge network. I can always connect people. And if we want to figure something out with that, how do we get that person? you know, on the podcast or whatever, you know, who do we need to connect to? Like, how do we build a real relationship? And so that's what it is.
Right.
You know, and that's what I would love to see more in St. Louis, of actual, more of that versus just is big on collaboration is just, and then it's just another transaction. At that point, just don't say we're collaborating, just say you hired me for that.
Right.
Now, what are some of the current projects that you are working on to help elevate your message and your love for St. Louis?
So one thing I'm currently working on is a creative, collaborative platform for St. Louis and its events called Louish. The handle is So St. Louis, and it's myself, STL Night Out, which is Nikki Bridges, and then AK Brown. And we decided to come together and create a platform where it's nicheless. Like, it's not the responsibility for one person to only talk about one niche, because St. Louis is not one niche. So St. Louis is incredibly diverse, and it has different offerings for different types of audiences. You have your family-friendly content, you have your LGBTQ content, you have your dog moms and your fitness buffs and your foodies and your wine buffs. Well, I can't do all of that, and neither could Nikki and AK. So we just came together and said, you know what? Let's put our individual content here so that it can also be a resource, but people know that they're not coming for just one specific thing. They're going to get everything when they come to Louish. So myself, I handle the special events and experiences. So I cover sports, museums, festivals, things like that. Nikki covers all the music and entertainment. So she's got the concerts, she's got the live performances, and then AK handles all the fashion things. So I'm not a fashion girly. I shop at Target, clearance rack. That's what I'm about. But AK lives fashion, Nikki lives music, and it's like, yeah, let's work together. Let's collaborate and build something that's for the audience, not for ourselves. It's not to heighten our brand. It's just to have a space for the people who are in St. Louis and the people coming to St. Louis to not have to bounce to different platforms to find things. You know, like, there are amazing creators in St. Louis who cover food, but if you wanted to know about a museum exhibit, that might not be there.
Right.
Yes. So we wanted to have a space where those things could live. And I'm really proud of it.
Well, how can people in St. Louis follow that platform? And then also, how can we help you grow, help you grow personally, but also help that brand grow?
Wonderful. So if people want to see what's going on, you can follow So St. Louis. So it's SOST Louish on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, and on YouTube. We just got a YouTube.
Hey, shout out to YouTube.
Shout out to YouTube, YT. And if you want to support me and you want to learn more about the events and experiences in St. Louis, you can follow me at JSoExtra on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And for you personally, Braden, I don't know. Like, whatever you have, let me know. Tag me in it, and I'm happy to share. I'm happy to support any way I can. I don't got $1 million, but if I could support you by showing up or sharing, then I'm happy to do that, because I have some time on my hand, and I would rather spend that time supporting people who are doing great things in the city than just like sit at home and watch another episode of Selling Sunset, which is a great show, but I can miss an episode.
Selling the St. Louis Sunset, like, for me, I mean, I don't watch TV. That's my thing, and I don't even consume content really that much.
Mm-hmm.
I just live and then I create content. Like, it's different than I feel like that most people live. Like, what's your strategy? I'm like, I wake up, I'm me. Some days, I used to post 2 or 3 times a day.
Uh-huh.
But I felt like,
Slow down on that.
cut it back. Now, we're going to get to some fun questions here. All right, and I know you're ready. So, Foodie Friday, what are 3 or 4 of your favorite spots?
Okay, so I have a lot of spots in my mind, so I had to narrow them down to my tried and true, my new favorite, and my looking forward to. So my tried and true, anytime I want good food, or if someone comes in town, where am I going to take them? Bogart's. Without a doubt, the best barbecue in St. Louis, in my humble opinion. I love their smoked turkey. Just really good. I know that they will never let me down. So that's my tried and true.
It's big.
Yes.
Consistency.
Yes, consistency. Yes. Love that. A new favorite, actually new favorites, the biscuit joint, because I am a breakfast snob, okay? Like, you're bringing me cold oatmeal or my egg isn't runny on my Eggs Benedict. The biscuit joint makes an incredible breakfast sandwich. And because I was raised by Southerners, the biscuit got a biscuit, okay? And it's flaky and it's buttery, so good. Next new favorite, Braden Cafe. Jawan has killed it. I love a savory breakfast, and I tried his sticky rice with a quail egg on top. Oh, so good. Yes. So those are my two new favorites. And what I'm looking forward to, I would probably say Nexus STL.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chef Ty Davis, who was formerly of the Chocolate Pig, he's got something coming. So I've known Chef Ty for quite some time, so I'm looking forward to what his next culinary endeavor is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, how much time we have? 2.5. Cool. All right. And then, dinner guests. 3 people that can join you at a table. Could be family, friends, celebrities. Who would they be, and what would you talk about?
Dead or alive?
Anybody.
Okay. Number 1, Anthony Bourdain, without a doubt. I want to know what is his favorite thing to cook and favorite thing to eat. Number 2, Prince, because Prince was public for his music, but I don't know anything about him personally. So I'd love to like sit at a table eating a bowl of soup, and I want to hear Prince's, like, what's he afraid of, and when's the last time he cried? You know, I would love that. This last one might be a little sensitive, but my brother passed away 10 years ago, and he loved food, but specifically he loved all the bad food. So being from the South, you have a lot of like country cuisine, like fatbacks and pig ears and pig's feet, which my brother loved. And he was in the military, and he traveled the world and went to France, Japan, and Cuba, all to come back home to America and eat chitlins. So I just want to ask him, like, why the chitlins? That's it.
That's what you settle.
Yeah. Yes. So those would be my 3.
And then words of wisdom, whether someone aspires to do what you're doing or maybe they're listening and going through a tough time.
I would say keep going and surround yourself with people who are going to encourage you to go after your dreams, and spend less time with people who would do the opposite, no matter who they are.
Facts. Well, thank you so much for your time, and look forward to collaborating.
Absolutely.
On something in the future, and keep doing your thing.
Thanks, Brad.